have young men that are between the ages of 11 and 14. I guess you could consider them boys. And there were 28 of them. And they start on Sunday afternoon and have a 2-hour class every day except Wednesday. That's a 3-hour day. And we train them how to preach and to teach. And so all 5-minute lesson. And then we chose 8 of them, and they spoke to their parents on Wednesday. And out of that, we chose 4, and 2 of them got to preach on Thursday morning in the big auditorium and at 8 o'clock, and 2 of them got to preach on Thursday at 9 o'clock. So it's the same lesson over and over and over. And they have 4 rules for those boys to follow. Okay, number 1, stand up. Okay. Number 2, see, look at the crowd. Number 3, speak properly. And then the last one is stop cussing. And now, isn't that an interesting thing? But that means do not do all the uhs, Once you start, you just flow through your speech. And so if you do an that's a cuss word. And you get marked down for that. So we got some good young men that are coming up that are going to be good preachers if their parents will continue to encourage them. They just did a great job. 1 Kings 18, 19 through 29. 1 Kings 18, 19 through 29. If you do not have the notes, raise your hand and we will make certain these get to you. Anybody? All right. Very good. One that way. Who else? 1 or 2? 1. There you go, buddy. 1 there. Raise your hands if you don't have those notes. And then these are for next week, and everybody will get a copy. Even if you don't want it. 2. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. Here you go, guys. That's for next week. Y'all can just come back. All right. Who is the king of Israel at this particular time in our studies? Yes, a king by the name of Ahab. And God has stopped. And He has chosen Ahab and as a man that we're going to spend a lot of time studying. Okay? Is he a good king or a wicked king? Very wicked king. Who's he married to? Jezebel. And she is the daughter of the king of Zidon. Remember Zidon. And she is a worshiper of Baal herself, as was her father also. Because of the wickedness of King Ahab, Elijah has told Ahab that it's not going to do what until he says it can do it again. Rain, yes. And so then he flees, does he not? And he goes to a widow's house and he lives there for a period of time. And then all of a sudden God says, go see Ahab. And as he goes, who does he come in contact with? A prophet by the name of Obadiah. Remember, a prophet by the name of Obadiah. Why is Obadiah out just walking around? Yeah, Ahab had commissioned him to go find grass. Remember, he was trying to find places where there's water still available so they could have grass to feed their animals. How long had this drought been going on? Okay, 3.5 years is how long this drought has been going on. So it's what they call bone dry. Okay, it's pretty dry. And when he sees Obadiah and he tells Obadiah, you go get Ahab, Obadiah is elated, isn't he? No, Obadiah is deeply concerned. Why? Do what?
Been given him a bunch
Okay, well, Ahab had been looking for Elijah, right? And he could never find him. And what Obadiah was afraid of is that if I go tell him that he needs to come here and meet you, that the Spirit of the Lord is going to catch you away because he hasn't been able to find you anywhere up to this point, and then what's he going to do to me? He's going to kill me. And what does Elijah tell Obadiah? No, he says, you go get him, I'll be here. And so when Ahab comes back to him, what does Ahab immediately ask him when he sees Elijah? Art thou he that troubleth Israel? You're that old prophet who has brought all of this trouble on the land. You're the one who has brought this drought upon the nation of Israel. You're the troubler of Israel. And Elijah says, yep, that's me. No?
He says, you're the trouble.
Ah, yes. You are the one who have troubled Israel. Okay? And we ended at that particular point 2 weeks ago, right? And so now we're in 1 Kings 18, 19 through 29. Who has a good title for this section? Glenn? Okay, Baal doesn't respond with fire when asked to. Anybody else? Okay, follow the one true God. And is that not the challenge that Elijah is going to offer the people on this particular occasion? Anybody else? I was trying to think about a good creative title, okay? And something like Two Gods, right? And two sacrifices. And then you might even continue it and say, and one response. Couldn't you? Boy, that'd be a pretty good little title. I didn't title it that way, but I just got to thinking about that later. Because some of y'all give some really original titles. I just put this, Elijah versus the prophets of Baal, number 1. Okay, because we're going to have part 2 when? Next time, aren't we? Okay, part 2 will be next time. Let's talk about an outline. Who's got the 4-point outline? Anybody? Glenn, number 1. Okay, Israel and prophets gather at Mount Carmel. Point 2.
Follow God, either the Lord or Baal.
Okay, point 2. Follow God, either the Lord or Baal. Point 3.
Bullet placed on wood, no fire, and fall on your God.
Okay, bullet placed on wood, no fire, call upon your God.
Baal didn't respond when called on.
Okay, point 4, Baal didn't respond when called on. I put down a 4-point outline. Number 1, the invitation to come to Mount Carmel. Number 2, the inquiry given to the people. Number 3, the itinerary for the contest. And number 4, the investiture of the prophets of Baal. Did they invest a lot in this sacrifice on this day? Oh boy, and we'll find out how much they invested, won't we? So the investiture. Sometimes you have to get your thesaurus out, okay, to make these words do what you want them to do. All right, where did Elijah want all Israel to gather to him? Mount Carmel. Now therefore send. Who's he talking to right now? He's talking to Ahab, is he not? He's still in the presence of Ahab, and he's talking to Ahab. Now therefore send, and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel. Did anybody look up Mount Carmel? I know Russell did, Chateau did. What'd you find out, Russell?
It's a mountain range in northern Israel that sticks out to the Mediterranean Sea, acting as a barrier to traffic on the coastal plain. And it means God's vineyard or God's garden. It was very fertile and lush with nature. And there's 2 scriptural references to how beautiful it is in Isaiah 35:2 and Song of Solomon 75. And it has a lot of caves that offer shelter and refuge to hermits.
Ooh-wee. Boy, he got a lot out of that one word in the Bible, didn't he? 1,791 feet above sea level. Okay, 1,791 feet above sea level, just little extras. It's composed of limestone and flint. Okay, and it does sit in a mountain range. Okay, but from the very top of Carmel, you can look out, and guess what you can see? The gorgeous Mediterranean Sea, folks. And let me tell you, that is a beautiful sea. Okay, and that'll play a part later on. How many prophets of Baal would be there? 450. And the prophets of Baal, 450. I counted a while ago, and we've got about 50 people in here. Okay, that looks like more. I won't say why, but we got about 50. Okay, nobody laughed. They didn't get it. Think about 9 times this number of people. Okay, that's just who? The prophets of Baal. Now, what's interesting is this, and for some reason, I don't know why I just got to thinking about these prophets of Baal. Okay, and the question that I asked was this: where did these guys come from? What's their backgrounds? Okay, and so I typed that into Google, and guess what I got? Nothing. Nothing. You know, here's Jezebel. She's got a court of 450 prophets of Baal, does she not? These are real men, real people. Hey, they have real lives. They had to come from somewhere. Who are these guys? Were they from Zidon, where her dad was the king and where they had tons of Baal worship? Were they Israelites who forsook God and claimed to be prophets but only wanted to sit at Jezebel's table? Because you got to do that, didn't you? I don't know. I still don't know where these guys came. 450 guys, that's a lot of prophets, isn't it? 450. How many prophets of the groves were invited? 400. And the prophets of the groves, 400, which eat at Jezebel's table every day. 850 prophets were fed at Jezebel's table. Now that's a big fellowship meal, isn't it? You know? Can you imagine the cooks? Can you imagine the food it took to feed these guys? Okay? But you see, you were set up for life, were you not? You were at the disposal of the queen. You got to eat at her table. You had the best of everything as one of her prophets. Boy, you'd be motivated to hire on there, wouldn't you? Might be some church members turn in their resume. Think about that. 450 plus 400 is 850. We may need to go back to school. 850. And against how many? 1. I don't know about you. Right now, Elijah seems like a man of unbelievable courage. Doesn't he? Unbelievable. Invite them. You go get the prophets of Baal. You go get the prophets of the groves and bring them to Mount Carmel. And I'll be there. Man. He has rebuked the king. And he has challenged the king's forces to a contest, hasn't he? So Ahab sent unto all the blank of Israel and gathered the blank together unto Mount blank Carmel. Most likely, there would have been several thousand people gathered at Mount Carmel. There was 850 just prophets, right? And just think, it's been a 3.5-year period of drought. They've been looking for Elijah. Ahab's gone everywhere in the nation looking for him, hasn't been able to find him, and then all of a sudden it's announced, is it not? There is a major contest between Elijah and the prophets of Baal at Carmel. Everyone come. Wow. Would you have been there? I'd have been there. I'd want to see Elijah in action, wouldn't you? Wow. Remember, this nation had rejected the worship of Jehovah, hadn't they? They'd rejected the worship of Jehovah. They had fallen in the way of Jeroboam, and now they had adopted the worship of who? They had adopted the worship of Baal. Now, maybe some of them were trying to hold on to both. We do a lot of that, don't we? We try to hold on to the world and try to hold on to the Christ oftentimes. And there were several Israelites that would want to hold on to a little Judaism, but hold on to also the worship of Baal. And now there's going to be a battle. So here's this great company of people gathered at Mount Carmel. And what question did Elijah ask the people? We don't have any preachers in here, do we? Because this right here, folks, this is where you preach. Okay? Notice what he said. Elijah came unto all the people and said, How long halt ye between what? Two opinions. Wow. Hey.
I like one of the, I don't know which one is this, like birds hopping from branch to branch.
Yes, from birds hopping branch to branch. That's a good picture, isn't it? It kind of shows you what they do. Clark writes this. They dreaded Jehovah, and therefore they could not totally abandon Him. They feared the king and queen, and therefore thought they must embrace the religion of the state. Their conscience forbade them to do the former. Their fear of man persuaded them to do the latter, but in neither were they heartily engaged. Boy, I wish I could write like that. You know, I can't write like that. But that's some good writing right there. They appeared to be lame, limping between two choices. At times they practiced the law, at other times they sacrificed to the false gods. Does anybody in here live your life like that? Kind of halt between two opinions? Church is kind of important, but just on Sunday, right? You know, and it's not important all Sunday. It's just important an hour or two on Sunday. You know, if I want to. If I don't want to, I'll just stay home. You know, and so they're not fully committed to either person, are they? They're kind of like the Laodiceans, aren't they? Lukewarm. You're neither hot nor cold for either one of these worshipers. And what did the Lord say? I would that you are hot or cold. You be one or the other. Don't be playing this religion stuff. You either be in or what? Get out. The lukewarm people make the Lord nauseous. That's what He said, isn't He? I will vomit thee out of my mouth. Don't be lukewarm, folks, like the children of Israel were. Elijah asked them, how long are you going to stay that way? Isn't it funny how times and people and circumstances change, but the nature of man just stays the same, you know? It just seems like we repeat patterns, don't we? And for some reason, we can't learn from the past. I had a guy at the children's home, and he'd always come to me and say, Vic, why can't we just learn from the past? I don't know. I don't know. We just don't. If the blank be God, follow Him. Now listen to this next statement. But if Baal, what? Follow him. You got two choices here, right? So you need to make a decision. Is it Baal or is it God? And whichever one it is, guess what? Follow him. Folks, there is only one. I just knew you'd answer that. There's only one God. There's only one God you can serve. Okay? And so here's the, which one of these two are it, isn't it? Elijah asked the people to determine whether the Lord or Baal is the true God. Once they determined the true God, he exhorted them to what? Follow him. If today Baal is the true God, then guess what you do? You follow him. But if not, if he's not the true God and the Lord is, then guess what? Follow him. Chateau?
Until I did this study, and I've read 1 Kings a bunch of times, but until I did this study, I thought the children of Israel was for Baal. I thought that the northern kingdom was for the most part, everybody who showed up there was for Baal.
Well, no, remember what Jeroboam did? Okay? he did several things that mimicked the law of Moses, didn't he? Okay? And you have to remember, the children of Israel have been following the law for a long period of time. Okay? And there were a lot of things that they would have kept, like clean and unclean animals, right? Okay, you don't eat the unclean, you eat the clean. And there would be times when, like Clark said, they dreaded Jehovah. They knew who Jehovah was. Okay, so there would be certain things they might do. When the Sabbath day came, did they rest on the Sabbath day? Possibly, you know. So there were certain aspects of the law they would hold on to, but there were certain things that they would also, be willing to give over to Baal. So they were kind of torn in between the two. Given more toward who? Baal. Folks, you can't worship half-hearted. If you are half God, half Baal, you are all Baal. Isn't that right? You can't be half and half as far as God's concerned. It's either one or the other. Isn't that what we just taught in our class this morning? You're either a despiser of God or you're a disciple of God. One of the two. Can't be both. And even though they were halting between two opinions, even like we do. Do I want the world and what the world has to offer, or do I want God? Do we halt between two opinions? Some people do, don't they? And it's a hard choice sometimes. What was the answer the people gave to Elijah? Sounds like the church. And the people answered him not a word. You know what they should have said? Amen, brother, preach it. They didn't say a word, did they? Not a word. I just wrote this down. They were guilty as charged, halting between two opinions. Yet they did not want to make a true commitment. That's what God wants, folks. Okay? He wants a true commitment, doesn't He? And my question was, why? Why wouldn't they want to make a commitment? Well, they may have been fearful of Ahab and Jezebel. Isn't that true? That's a pretty powerful couple. They may have been spiritually dishonest. They may have been content playing both sides. We kind of get comfortable, don't we? They may have been dishonest as if a choice could not be made. They may have been slothful, knowing what the true God really required of them. Had a man on one occasion, he knew what he needed to do to become a Christian, and he wouldn't do it. And so we'd go to him and we'd ask him, you've been associated with the church for years. You know exactly what to do to become a Christian. Why don't you obey the gospel? Here was his answer. Because I know what the Lord requires of me after I become a Christian. And he said, I don't know that I'm ready to make that commitment yet. At least he was honest, wasn't he? About 6 or 8 months later, he obeyed the gospel. And guess what? One of the most faithful men you've ever met. He knew, this is what I have to do. I've got to commit myself to service to the Lord. But you see, if you can't make that commitment, you've got problems. Maybe they were too proud to admit that they had been wrong all of this time. Wow.
There's a whole generation that was brought up on Baal.
Oh, yes.
What else did they know?
Well, they knew the true God. They were connected. Okay, and even what Jeroboam set up, the two idols, it wasn't that we just threw away the priesthood. We just put in another priesthood. We still had a Day of Atonement. It's just in a different month, right? And we still made sacrifices. There's a lot of things that has some parallels, but we're still wrong. How many prophets of the Lord did Elijah say existed? Then said Elijah unto the people. Now, folks, get into Elijah's mindset right here, because he's wrong. He's wrong. Even right there, that day, he's wrong. Who else is there? No. Notice what he says. Even I, only, remain a prophet of the Lord. Who went to get Ahab? Obadiah. Who was Obadiah? He was a prophet. What had he done? What had he done? He had rescued 100 prophets. Elijah was not the only one. What Elijah should have said is, I feel like I'm the only one. Now that's a whole different ball game, isn't it? He was not the only one. Okay? And he's going to learn that lesson in the next chapter. Okay? That he's not the only one, even though he felt that way. When you're serving the Lord, do you ever sometimes just feel like you're the only one? You know? You're trying to do something, you're giving it all, you're putting all this energy, all this time, all this effort, all this money into it, and guess what? You look around and hardly anybody else cares very much, right? And so you go home, you sit down on the couch, and you start pity partying. You know, you got to get out the chip and dip and stuff, and, you know, I'm the only one down there trying to be faithful, you know. I work so hard, and you know, oh man, you just get yourself a big pity party. That's where Elijah's moving that way, and hadn't quite reached that point, but he's moving that way, folks. We have to be careful. How many prophets of Baal were there? 450. Man, how about this? The odds appear to be stacked against Elijah. You know. If you were called to the battle royale, and I'm in one corner, that's little me, and 450 prophets of Baal were in the other corner, who would you think would win? Okay? Sure wouldn't be little Vic, would it? How many bullocks did Elijah want provided? Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks. Just 2. What 3 things were the prophets of Baal to do to their bullock? Number 1, cut it in pieces. Number 2, lay it on the wood. Number 3, put no fire under it. It appears that he allowed the false prophets to choose which one of the 2 bullocks they wanted, doesn't it? Can that be a problem? Yeah. You know, bring 2 bullocks. Okay, we bring 2, and Elijah pulls the first one. Oh, wait, we want his bullock. You know, because they think something's magical or something about his bullock, right? But he said, you just choose the bullock you want. Doesn't matter which one of the 2. If you want that one, I'll take this one. If you take this one, I'll take that one. Whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Wow. What 3 things would Elijah do to his bullock? Number 1, he would dress the other bullock. Number 2, lay it on the wood. 3, put no fire in it. They were both to do exactly the same thing, were they not? I just wrote this. At this point in time, everything is equal and fair as far as the sacrifice is concerned, right? We got a wooden altar. We got 2 bullocks. We got them cut up in pieces. And now you set them on the altar. Everything, that's pretty fair, right? Who were the prophets of Baal to call to? And call ye, and I love this, on the name of your gods. Not just Baal, on the name of your gods. Folks, when individuals leave Jehovah, they usually go into polytheism. Okay? The worship of many gods. Remember, there's also 400 prophets of the groves that are there. They were not just a single nation worshiping one God. They worship many gods. Russell, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say he even let them choose which one they were going to sacrifice.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. You know, he gets.
They could say, oh, there was something wrong with this one, that's why I won't let it.
Yeah, you choose the bullock, right? And very good. Who would Elijah call to? Now I want you to listen to him. I will call on the name of the Lord. I will call on one God, just one. You call on the name of your gods, plural. I will call upon the name of the Lord, one. So it's one against many. It's one prophet against many prophets. It's one God against Many gods. Folks, this is not a battle between Elijah and the prophets. Okay? This is a battle between gods. Remember when David went to the battlefield against Goliath? It wasn't a battle against David and Goliath. It was a battle against who? It was a battle between two gods. Okay? It was a battle between the Philistine god and a battle between David's God. That's who the battle was really between. And yet God works through men to accomplish His purpose, right? Which will determine the true God. Yes, and the God that answereth by fire, let Him be God. Write down Leviticus 9, especially verse 24. This had happened in times past. Leviticus 9, verse 24. When a fire consumed the sacrifice at the altar of burnt offering. So just write it down. You can go back and read about that. What was the answer of the people to this challenge? And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken. Sounds like a good deal to me, right? The men for Baal boasted of being prophets. Elijah was a prophet. All of them should have access to their God on such occasions, shouldn't they? Surely the true God would respond when doing battle against another God. Right? I mean, if our gods are concerned about this, and this is the battle between the gods, surely the gods will show up. Man. After the prophets of Baal dressed their bullock, what did they cry unto Baal from morning till noon? Oh, Baal, hear us! 800 prophets crying. Wasn't one. From morning till when? Till noon. The morning sacrifice was usually about 9 o'clock. The noon sacrifice was at noon. That's 3 hours of hollering and screaming. Oh, Baal, hear us! Oh, Baal! Oh. Can you imagine? You know, wouldn't you like to have seen what Elijah was doing this whole time? Sitting over on a stump somewhere with his bottle of water. You know, just watching these guys scream and holler. What's that? Yeah, shaking his head. But there was no blank nor any that answered. No voice. I've said this a lot of times and it drives people crazy when I say it. Folks, the reality is that there is not a God that exists named Baal. There's not one. All gods are what? False gods. All gods are made up gods. They don't exist. Listen to what Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 8:4 beginning. As concerning therefore the things of those or the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one. Dagon, Milcom, Baal, they don't exist, folks. So if they don't exist, you can call to them all day long, and guess what? They're not going to answer you. They're not out there. People think they're out there. They believe they're out there. They say they're out there. They're not out there. There's only one God out there, and that's the Almighty God. What did the prophets do upon the altar? And they leaped upon the altar which was made. Clark says they danced round it with strange and hideous cries, tossing their heads to and fro with a great variety of bodily contortions. Wouldn't you like to see that show? What did Elijah do at noon? Oh, man. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them. Anybody look up the word? Russell, what did it say?
To tease or laugh in a scornful or contemptuous manner.
Oh, isn't that something? Man. He is not, he quit playing nice, hasn't he? Okay? It's time to make fun of these old guys a little bit. Why would Elijah mock the false prophets? That doesn't seem like behavior becoming of a prophet, does it? The answer lies in the fact that he is in battle with false prophets, isn't he? Folks, this isn't a show. Okay, This isn't Saturday morning wrestling. Okay? This is a real what? This is a real contest. This is not simply a private conversation between two individuals. This is warfare between Jehovah and Baal. Barnes believes that Elijah had two purposes in mind. Number one, to stimulate the priests to greater exertions. And number two, to suggest to the people that such a failure would prove absolutely that Baal was no God. What did he tell them to do? And said, blank aloud, for he is a blank. Isn't that something? I thought you said you worship a God. Right? I thought you said you worship a God. And then he has to find out where he is, doesn't he? Man. If he's a God, he should have ears, right? Their idols are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they with their throat. Psalm 115, 4 through 7. What four things did Elijah say Baal may have been doing? Number one, he is talking. Okay? Sometimes people walk past me and I don't see them, or I'm engaged in a conversation and they may say something, I don't say anything back. Because I'm what? I'm talking. Well, maybe Baal's up there talking to some of the other gods. Number two, he is pursuing. Did anybody look up that word? When you read some of the commentators, withdraw to a private place. Anybody thinking what I'm thinking? Has he gone? That is about what he means right here. Has he gone to the bathroom? Right? You know, if you can't find your husband or wife anywhere in the house, where do you go? Bathroom. Okay, maybe he's gone to the bathroom. He is in a journey. He sleepeth and must be awakened. These things were keeping the God from manifesting himself on the field of battle against a being known as the living God. Man. Real quickly, what did the prophets of Baal cut themselves with as they cried aloud? Yes, they cut themselves with knives and lancets. Man. Till blood what? Gushed out from them. This was common behavior, folks. You see, they thought the giving of their blood would appease the gods and cause the gods to respond to their requests. So they were basically offering themselves almost in sacrifice to the gods, weren't they? Wow. And it came to pass when midday was past, and they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was no voice, nor any to answer, nor any that regarded. At least 6 hours, from 9 till 3. The evening sacrifice was around 3 o'clock. 6 hours these men screamed and hollered and cut themselves and jumped and discontorted themselves. And guess what? Nothing. Nothing. And then Elijah steps up and says, hey boys, sit down. My time. And we'll pick up there next time.